Melissa, I didn't even notice your floral headband here. I've been so focused on things on my computer here. You were in this like floral headband thing. I've seen that before, right?
Yeah, I have some flower crowns. I feel a little silly wearing them just randomly out of the blue, so I mostly save them for when my hair needs to be washed. Then it's flower crown time.
I gotcha.
I only put things on my head when my hair isn't at its best.
I do that every now and then too, especially with hats. My hair is fine right now, but I just felt like wearing a hat. So
yeah, your hair doesn't really look different from time to time. It looks shorter
every now and then,
or not as short.
I need to get a haircut soon. I doubt I'll get one this weekend because I didn't mention it to my roommate. So maybe next weekend, but you guys won't see that because this is the final episode of the Captain's Log for the year. This is number 124. So welcome to the Captain's Log, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle Springer. And I am joined, as always, by Melissa Wilkinson.
Yes.
Hello. So I have on a NASA hat. I bought this hat a while back, but I wore it today in honor of the Guardians. Welcome, Guardians. So today, Mike Pence announced that the military personnel for the Space Force will be named Guardians. So I don't know what's up with that.
Oh no, make it stop. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I clicked on that CNN link and it started playing me a home air freshener ad. I was so alarmed. I didn't think CNN was going to make noises at me.
That's funny.
What were you saying?
Well, apparently Sam can't hear you. She's in the chat right now. I don't know why. It should absolutely be going to. It's all hooked up correctly. I don't know why it is doing that. So I'm going to do this other thing. Let's see. Audio, I guess input capture. Let's try this. No. Let's see if that works. Wavelength stream, wavelength monitor. So no, see, I don't need to get all of that. I just need this one. So I'm going to delete that. Remove. Yes. Output. This one's going to be, we're going to do wavelength. I got a new microphone, so that's why things are a little bit different right now on my end. You guys mostly won't notice, except for Sam, who is noticing all of that stuff. Melissa, can I have you say something on the mic?
Yeah. I'm saying yes. Is that enough words? Do I need to say an entire sentence?
No, it was happening perfectly fine just 2 seconds ago. I don't know why this is not doing that. Where is... No, we want... Oh, there it was. We want Skype. And we want this thing. Sound settings, yes.
God, CNN.com is giving me an ad for a sofa, and it's not the right sofa. They're calling that a tuxedo sofa, and it absolutely is not. A tuxedo sofa is one height all the way around. And this is a back taller than the sides. It's saying how it doesn't go like that. I've spent a lot of time learning about different types of sofas lately,
Mm-hmm.
and a tuxedo is what I want, and that's not it.
How many types of sofas are there?
I don't know, 12 to 15 for like a, the everyday couch owner.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why this live stream is not working. But I'm not going to be able to figure this out right now as we are also talking and recording. So unfortunately, Sam, I might take the live stream down, which really sucks. But the VOD will be up for everyone as soon as possible.
What an embarrassing VOD.
I know.
It's 5 minutes of you clicking things and I yell at cnm.com.
Yeah.
This is our last episode of the year. It's supposed to be a party.
Okay.
I've got my swampnog.
I'm going to take the VOD down. So if you're listening to this, thank you for sticking around for all like 8 minutes. But yeah, we'll fix this in post. Okay. And we're back. Yeah, that was strange. I have things all hooked up correctly. They should be working. I have no idea why. And I was testing this out earlier. Weird. Anyways, back to the subject on hand. Space Force. They're named Guardians. How do you feel about that? They are now officially the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, I'm quite loyal to James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. But I gotta say that if you are brave enough,
be Star-Lord?
I don't know. Star Lady, Kyle. What is this? A general can only be a man sort of thinking. We can have a Star Lady in charge of the Guardians. I think that if you're brave enough to go to space,
gender stuff from Lord.
Sure. I think if you're brave enough to go to space, you can call yourself whatever you want. Like if you get up to space and you're like, I'm president of space now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got up to space and I didn't. So how am I going to fight you?
Right? Who knows? I mean, come back down here on Earth and fight like a man, right? Yeah? No? Okay. I just thought that was funny, so I wore my NASA hat.
You often do.
Yeah. Well, it's new, so I've worn it only once or twice on the podcast.
Do you have another NASA hat? Do you have a NASA shirt?
I don't have a NASA shirt. I do have a couple dad hats. I have a black one. I have a white one, and I have this denim one, this NASA denim one. But that's it. That's all I have for dad hats or like space themed or NASA themed stuff. Unfortunately. But there you go. All right. So couches, 17 types of couches.
Well,
How?
It's not like these are agreed upon. Like, the Westminster Kennel Club agrees on dog breeds.
Yeah.
Well, think about types of couches, Kyle. You have, back tall, arms short. You have back and arms same size. You have back and arms same size, but the couch is like a hump on the back, like a camel. You got the rolled arm. You got the Chesterfield arm. You got the straight arm. There's many couches. I'm looking for a tuxedo or a Chesterfield myself.
Interesting. So when you look for a couch, what is your ideal couch?
I like the couch that I have now, but it's a hand-me-down couch from my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So it has this like country print fabric that I'm not wild about, and the fabric is also very worn out by this time. But I love the shape and size and the structure of the couch. So I just want that again, but maybe slightly larger and, and in a modern, contemporary kind of neutral fabric.
Right. See, I like leather couches. I like sectionals, the ones that like do the
God. Yeah, I want me an L couch.
curve thing. Yeah. But then the one we had growing up was really nice. We never like actually put it together like we were supposed to. But we had two of them that were recliners. Two of the seats were recliners. And then the one in between them, the back of the seat came down, and it was like it had cup holders and stuff like that, and you could put your like food there and stuff. It was great. I loved it. But it wasn't the like hard leather where like this was like soft and fluffy, and it was
it's like sitting in a baseball glove.
Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. So that is like my ideal type of couch. It's like chasing the high of that first couch, right?
I've been dreaming of a sectional my whole life. And I still admire the big screen TVs of my youth, even though they are very outdated now.
Oh, we had one that was ginormous and had this
and
5-foot back behind it. Yeah.
It's a real dump truck of a TV. If I walked into somebody's house and they had one of those today.
Damn, Melissa, look at her butt.
I want a TV with a back on it.
Yeah. TV got back.
If I saw a TV like that today, I would still be as impressed as I was when I was a child. I don't think that's going to wear off of me.
That's great.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe if I had like a lot of space and a lot of money, I would have like a real up-to-date home theater room, and then I would just have a throwback home theater room that is a giant big screen TV with a big butt and just a VHSs. We have no modern movies. It's like, okay, everybody gather around. Everybody has their Fruitopias. We're going to start Twister.
Great. That's wonderful. So you said you were drinking something.
Yes.
What are you sipping on?
I made my own eggnog from scratch.
Oh, wow.
From real egg.
That? What is in eggnog? 'Cause I'm indifferent on eggnog. It's fine, but I'm not like, oh, it's eggnog season. Fuck yeah. Let's go. It's not that.
It's 6 egg yolks, a lot of milk, vanilla, assorted spices.
That makes sense so far.
And in my case, brandy. I had leftover brandy from a sangria recipe, but you can put a variety of alcohols in here. Yeah, I've got it in my Shrek collectible glass, which I think makes it swampnog. And I got a little cinnamon stick floating in there like a swamp log for my swampnog.
Okay. On the captain's log.
Happy Shrek Simber to us all.
So I am sipping on a Goose Island IPA. I bought this today through Go Puffed. Have you heard of that
I've seen that ad.
Yeah, I've seen the ad once or twice, like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And today I woke up and panicked because I forgot alcohol for our retrospective tomorrow. I don't have a car and I don't really go grocery shopping. And I don't think Amazon delivers alcohol. All of that stuff. Or they usually do, but because they're doing the contactless stuff, they're not showing it. So I was looking up like alcohol delivery services, and I tried out Go Puffed for the first time. This is not an advertisement, I swear, but I had a great experience.
That's good.
Kind of fascinated by what it actually is, because I just thought it was like your everyday delivery service. You can be like, I want a Slurpee from 7-Eleven. Go get me a Slurpee. But that's not it. They actually have their own like store. It's not a store you can walk in and buy things from, but that essentially cuts out the middleman. And when they get a delivery they have to do, it gets there a lot faster.
Oh.
Because they don't have to wait for someone to pick up the order and then drive there and get it and then go to your house and do all of that stuff. And so, yeah, there was like a $2 delivery fee, and that was it.
Ooh.
Or I guess
pretty
also
good.
a $2 alcohol fee too. But they checked my ID right there at the door, and it worked great. It was fast.
Nice.
I was like, holy shit, you guys got here really fast. And they're like, yeah, we're just down the street, blah, blah, blah. It was great.
That's
but
cool.
yeah. So I got this Goose Island IPA. That's what I'm sipping on. That's what I will be drinking tomorrow as well for our 5-year anniversary retrospective.
Jiminy, so old.
Yeah, 5 years. So I have to say, I am proud of how far the Whatnauts have come. I don't know, like I knew and I still know that I want to do this for a long time.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Like I want to do this until I can't, right? Who knows if you'll stick around or if Ignacio will stick around or who knows what the Whatnauts will look like then, right? But man, I didn't have a whole 5 years from now, I still want to be doing the Whatnauts. But hey, we're still here. I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So if you are listening to this, I would say if you were here live, but our technical difficulties stomped that out. But we did a live stream on Saturday, which I guess is tomorrow for us recording this. But be on the lookout for that because that will be on all of our podcast feeds. So no matter what podcast of ours you listen to, you guys can check out all of that stuff. And it's going to be great. We're going to be eating and drinking and playing some games and talking and all sorts of stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. So
yes,
be on the lookout for that. How, when you joined the Whatnauts, Melissa, I'm sure I'll ask you this again tomorrow.
This is our dry run,
right? Yeah. What did you think would happen? Once I was like, yes, you're hired. Did you think we would be going for 5 years strong? I mean, I guess you've been here for 2.5 years. 3 years?
Yeah.
2
I
years,
joined
like
April 2018.
Okay, so
just
2
before
years.
Infinity War.
Right. That's right. But yeah, what did you think would happen?
I don't know. I think I saw myself sticking around because I'm like, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
So I'm still here.
There you go.
Wow. I'm happy to still be doing it with you. I'm excited to see if we do get, as you've often talked about, a couple more occasional co-hosts in the mix where we can just swap them in and out.
Yeah.
Mix up the party sometimes.
I'm hoping to get a little bit more hosts on the review show and on the Captain's Log, whether that's Gino and Ignacio and Alan from Crossplay, or a more permanent host for those ones, or a guest or two on stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think 2021 will be a good year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Melissa, do we want to dive into all of our favorite stuff of the year now?
Whenever you want to take it. I know it's a rather large set piece for the episode.
Okay. Well, let's start with that and see how far that takes us.
Okay.
All of that stuff. So you had the idea. You were like, "Hey, next week we should." It's
not a revolutionary concept.
Right? Yeah. But you were like, "Hey, let's look at all of our favorite media that we consumed this past year." And you mentioned that it didn't have to be new media that came out in 2020, just something that you personally watched. right? So, for example, it could be a movie from 1960, but hey, it's your first time watching that. So I'm excited to dive into that. I have some notes here
Good.
I wrote down. So I've actually been keeping notes of every movie that I've watched, every TV show, and every comic book. I've written down not like extensive notes on them all, but just I've written down all the ones that I've watched here. And I have some stats and all that stuff. There's a lot. I was just curious as to like, I wonder how many of these I actually consume in a year.
Yeah, it's good to have a number.
Yeah, because I do this a lot. I watch movies, I watch TV shows, play video games, read comics. And I was just like, I wonder exactly how much. So I would like to officially announce this year I watched 61 movies. 51 different TV shows.
Wow.
With a total of 1,270 episodes. And for comics, I read 540 issues of Western-style comics and 90 chapters of manga.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so many numbers. I tried to calculate how many TV episodes you watch in a day. And some of these may be an hour long, half hour. As I know you talked about watching Steven Universe. Those are little 12-minute episodes. That is an average of 3.5 episodes of anything a day, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I haven't separated them out of like, these are half an hour and this is an hour long. Maybe I'll do that by tomorrow and I'll be like, I watched this many hours of television. There you go.
Ooh.
Who knows?
And then you're going to print all of this out on a certificate and mail it to your parents and have them put it up on the fridge. Right. And next time they have a friend over and they're like, what's your boy up to? They point at this certificate that you designed yourself.
He's a vegetable. He's watching all this stuff.
We should do that for our parents. Design our own certificates to ourselves from ourselves. Just like, Mom, look how well I did. Put it on your fridge, Mom.
I kind of did that for my graduation. For like the invites to my graduation, I didn't send out the ones that you could buy from this school. I made my own.
And but that's for a real
they were like
thing.
These. I mean, sure, but it's still a thing of just like, hey guys, I did this thing. Look at that.
I want to invent an accolade and design my own documentation of the accolade to give to my parents like it's my diploma that they have framed on their wall.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
I did 2.5 years of a podcast.
You now have a bachelor's in podcasting science.
When I've done this for 4 years, please, you're the graphic designer. Will you make me a diploma?
Right? Yeah. We'll have to figure that out and make something. We'll figure that thing out. In the meantime, Alyssa, it looks like we have a very poor connection on the internet. Because you are completely frozen and I cannot hear you right now.
Wow.
Are we back? There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, we had a poor connection there for a sec. Okay, we're back. We got things figured out. We've been having all kinds of technical difficulties and stuff like that. So, Melissa.
Yes.
How do you want to do this? Because I highlighted 5 things from each section. So I have my 5 favorite movies, 5 favorite TV shows, and 5 favorite comics that I've read. But I don't have them in any order, and I don't know how many you picked out or
let's see.
what all you have.
I don't think I've got different categories. Oh, let's start. I wanted to ask you, do you have a Spotify end of the year wrap up?
I do. I already did it. My Spotify wrap up is always strange. How do I get back to it?
I don't know how you get back to it because I look forward to mine. I stick with mine.
Let's see. Dig deeper into some of your top artists of 2020 with I think those are playlists though. Can I do my see how you listened in 2020? Okay. All of that. Oh, sound. Hello. Don't need all of that. Is there a pause button on this thing? Because it goes through all of that stuff.
I don't know. I just screenshot it as it goes through. So I have some stats.
So how about you take it away on your Spotify and I'll screenshot mine as it does all of the stuff.
Okay, you're working on yours.
Yeah.
So Spotify, my top song of the year was Life Itself by Glass Animals.
Okay. I don't think I've heard of them.
Well, they are. They're good. I'm excited to read through these, but I have very few words to describe how I like these. I just do. I do like them. The top songs, Life Itself. Cairo by San Furman. The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen. Very ominous. Avocado Baby by Los Campesinos. And If You See My Enemies by Rubble Bucket. And my top artist was Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And I am in the top 0.5% of their listeners this year.
Wow, okay.
Which I think gets me an Australian citizenship.
There you go. So I'm familiar with them because they did a lot of the soundtrack to Peaky Blinders. They did the intro song of the was it the Red Right Hand?
Yes. It's a pre-existing song. It is many years old. It's in an episode of X-Files from 1994.
There you go. Good stuff.
And Spotify says I spent 1,627 minutes listening to their music, which is 27 hours.
Wow.
And my top artists were Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Hozier, who was number 1 last year. He's been knocked off the top spot. Barnes Courtney, Duran Duran, and The Killers. And I look at this list and it feels like 5 different types of wizards.
Interesting.
Yeah. You still working on yours? I'm
still working on mine. I'm almost done here.
Heck, let me read other stuff I got in my... Let's round out the top 10. Top 10 Spotify songs I played this year. How do I get... No, it's 2019. What else was in here? Mirror Master by Young the Giant. Is There Something I Should Know by Duran Duran. Rich Friends by Portugal the Man. Wrecking Ball by Mother Mother. Mr. Know-It-All by Young the Giant. See, a lot of these songs are songs I put on fan mixes this year. This was a big year for me making playlists. It gave me something to do while I've been stuck at home working all the time. And I made playlists for 2 of the shows we covered on the review show this year. I made a whole Venture Brothers playlist and a whole Mr. Robot playlist. And I would listen to those through as I curated them to test the flow of the playlist. So a lot of those songs wound up pretty high on my Spotify numbers.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, I am done with my thing. So
okay.
I got all of this stuff. Okay, pictures. Let's open up all of this stuff. Spotify. Let's start you off with a win. It says you discovered 353 new artists this year. Even in 2020, you still found ways to grow. You listened to 276 genres this year, including 113 new ones.
Oh my God.
I have no
There's
idea
that
what
many
those
genres?
No idea. My top genres. Number 1, hip hop. Number 2, abstract hip hop.
What?
Number 3, vocal jazz. Number 4, funk. Number 5, indie soul.
Wow. So diverse.
Yeah. My top song of the year is Line to Dot by Toki Monster. So I have to say, I'll back up a bit. My Spotify like end of the year thing is always a little bit skewed. Because I have a gigantic playlist of songs that I listen to when I'm asleep. Like I have my speaker and I just put this on all night. It runs for like 10 hours each day. And I really only have to like restart the playlist maybe once a week. If that, like, it has thousands of songs and stuff, so it's always skewed of like, you listen to this song this many times. Like, I don't even remember that song. Like, I don't know, I don't know what song this is. Right?
My YouTube suggestions are a lot of 8 hours of rainstorm noise.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, Line to Dot by Toki Monster, who I do know and I do really like her stuff. My very first stream of the year was on January 4th with that very same song, Line to Dot. My day with the most streams was January 16th, again with Line to Dot by Toki Monster, and I guess the song that had the most streams was again Line to Dot by Toki Monster, which I'm assuming was in my playlist to the sleep one. I don't know. So my top 2 songs were from Toki Monster. Number 1 was Line to Dot. Number 2 was Smoke and Mirrors by Toki Monster. Number 3 was Meaning by Quantic. Number 4 was In Your Eyes by Bad Bad Not Good and Charlotte Day Lewis, I believe. It got cut off. And number 5, again, Toki Monster with Aching Nodes. That's all from the exact same fucking album, too. Wild. Let's see. You listened to The Gates before it hit 50,000 streams. I don't know what that's referring to. Finding the new millennial pink. What does that mean? I don't know.
Oh, I guess it's just like you've spotted a trend before it's a trend. Spotify gave me one of those too, but I didn't screenshot it at the time. And it was a song I listened to like twice, and it's like you got on it first. You were
one of the first, yeah. My top decade was the 2000s. That's where most of my
I think I got
music
like 20
came from.
Yeah, I think I got that too, which surprised me. Because like any contemporary music I can't affix to a particular time very well. I'm just like, I think it's come out since I've turned 10, but I don't know when in that range. So that was a surprise. Spent a lot of this year with 80s new wave. That was one of my genres.
How vaporwave of you, right?
It's old wave.
Yeah.
It was new, now it's old.
My top song from the 2000s decade was again Meaning by Quantic. My top artist was TPR. And I was in the top 0.5% of listeners this year. I think last year I was in the like 0.1%. So this guy does a lot of like piano versions of video game songs and stuff. So it's all in my sleep thing, where it's very calming music that you can fall asleep to. Your favorite song from TPR was Find Your Way, and you spent 6,333 minutes listening to their music. You listened to 845 artists this year, but those that reigned supreme, number 1 was TPR. Number 2 was 12, spelled WUN space TWO. Number 3, Atmosphere. That seems a little bit more like me. Number 4, Julie London. Getting some old jazz in there. There you go. And number 5, Tommy Guerrero. He used to be a professional skateboarder, and then he turned to music after that. He has some good stuff. Let's see. Thanks for spending all 67 months of 2020 with us. That one was good. That made me laugh. Yeah, that's it. That's my thing.
Yay.
There you go.
Music accomplished.
Music accomplished.
You want to let's do podcasts. Did you put down anything about podcasts?
That I can kind of mention off the top of my head. So I think by far this year, my favorite podcast as of late has been Waypoint Radio. It's mainly a video game podcast. And they talk about other things from time to time. Every once in a while, they'll be very political focused. But they're always very adept at what they're talking about. They're very eloquent in what they're talking about, whether it be their experience with a video game, or I watched this new show, or here's what's happening in politics. Oh my God, did you see this? Blah blah. And like I don't really consider myself knowledgeable all that much on politics and stuff. And so to hear them talk about it in a way that I can both understand and also find, like, the way they're doing this is fascinating. Like I is wild. But they are great. One of the hosts, Austin Walker, is also a big Gundam fan. I feel like he often puts my Gundam knowledge to shame, which angers me, makes me jealous. So
you have a rival. You have
damn
a baby
you, Austin.
with one eyebrow.
Yeah, no, he's wonderful. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I think on top of that, another big staple of mine is the Rooster Teeth podcast. And I think by the end of the year, by January 1st, 2021, I think I will have listened to every single episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Ooh, boy.
Period. Now, I've been catching up for a year and a half, 2 years now. And I think I have less than 10. So they have a bunch of their stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
A majority of their stuff. They have like 600 something episodes. I think of their more recent stuff, I'm like maybe 10 episodes behind. So I can catch up on that really fast. But then they have a portion of their podcast that was audio only that they don't have up on YouTube. So simultaneously, I've been going through all of that, all the stuff. And I'm still fascinated about how, like, I think I mentioned this like a month or two back, how my life will mimic what they're talking about on the podcast and stuff. And yeah, so I've been like catching up on the really, really old stuff. I finally caught completely up on the like middle old stuff that I've been trying to catch up on. And then just because of quarantine, I fell behind on the most recent stuff. But yeah, and like 600 something episodes. That's wild. But I think by the end of the year, I will finally have that all done, because I think I have like less than 10 on the old podcasts of that stuff. So there you go. I think they are a good one there.
Way to go.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always talking about my big mainstay podcasts, Blank Check, All Fantasy, Everything, Podcast The Ride. So I wanted to write down a list of my favorite new podcasts I started listening to this year. And these are new podcasts from 2020, not like older stuff that I'm just starting to get into now, like Doughboys. I don't think I listened to Doughboys before this year. That's a podcast where these two guys review chain restaurants and they get really into it. And they have like all of these scoring mechanisms, like, all right, it's 4 forks, but is it 5 forks? I'm going to give it 4.5 forks. Okay, 4 forks and 2 tines.
is a half fork a spork? So it's like four
No,
forks
like
and a spork.
a fork has tines to it, you know. So they count
I
the number
know.
of tines for like partial scores.
Okay,
Yeah.
that works.
And you can get into a golden plate club or a platinum plate club if you do really good. And then they play like games at the end of the episode, like snack or whack, where they decide if a snack is good, or drank or stank if they decide if a drink is good.
Drank or stank.
Or pie in the sky where
Tony stank.
Where Nick describes a pie and Mike has to guess what kind of pie it is. It's very fun.
That's
my
funny.
favorite genre of podcast is taking a silly thing way too seriously. But these are new 2020 podcasts that I got super into. One of these I put on the list for talking points last week, and then I decided to bump it to this week as part of this whole scenario. I've been getting into some audio dramas lately. I've always liked audio dramas, but I've been wanting them more now that I have longer stretches of time here at home. I can get more immersed in them. You know,
I was a big fan of audio drama here at the Whatnauts.
Yeah, like I re-listened to Black Tape's podcast earlier this year, which was fantastic. That's that's going to be a favorite of mine I return to for a long time. I listened to all of Fairy, which was interesting. Fairy was new this year too. Yeah, Fairy's neat. If you like the Pacific Northwest stories, like Black Tapes and Tanis and Rabbits, yeah, listen to Fairy too to round all of that out.
Okay. Good
I
to know.
found a podcast. I forget how I found it. I think I was looking at some other audio drama in Podcast Addict, and then I just clicked on related titles, and it led me to this one called The Left-Right Game.
Yeah, I saw you mention that, or at least had it written down in our notes.
I hadn't.
What is that?
I had the sense that I heard the title once, but I really didn't know what it was. It's an audio drama produced by Sonos, the speaker company.
I have one of their speakers.
Oh, is it good?
It's great sound quality. I'm not a fan of their app.
Okay.
But besides that, it's great.
It's produced by Sonos and Tessa Thompson, who stars in this as a journalist who... she's just, it starts kind of like how Black Tape starts when Alex is like, I'm just going to go interview people with weird jobs. And then she gets in a paranormal investigation and she finds Richard Strand and she's like, forget it. The entire podcast is just about this guy now. Forget all the other weird jobs I was going to talk about.
Struck gold.
She plays this journalist who's doing interviews for kind of like a This American Life type of show. And she finds this old guy who's really into this kind of urban legend called the left-right game, where you start out from like a certain point, you take a right, you take a left, you take a right, you take a left. You know, next turn you come to, you have to take that turn. You have to alternate like that. And if you do that enough, you will cross over into another dimension. And he's like, I've done it before, but I haven't gotten very far. I'm going back out again.
Another dimension.
I'm going back out. I'm bringing more people with me. Do you want to come along with me? So she rides around with him in his truck, and they're followed by this caravan of people, all these other interested people. They're like, yeah, we want to see the other dimension. And it's
Side note, before you continue on that, I heard a great explanation of the difference between alternate dimensions and alternate universes. And to be honest, sometimes I just don't think about that. And when it was like, yeah, what is the difference between that? And someone was like, a dimension is like a direction in space, right? You can go up, down, left, right, backwards, forwards. So another dimension would be like a new direction in that thing, right? So it's still within your universe, but there is now a new dimension. In there, right? So think of like the quantum realm in Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? Like it's still in their universe, but it's a new dimension.
Helpful.
Whereas an alternate universe is just like it's something else entirely. It can be parallel, right? Where it's like everything happened exactly the same except for this thing. But yeah, it's just like it's completely separate.
Got it. Thank you.
I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. I don't know why I just I should know that.
Nobody has ever set down rules for that. Like no narrative has ever, it's not like Scott said, I'm going into an alternate universe. And then Hank Pym was like, it's an alternate dimension, Scott. Jeez.
Yeah. Dimension, not universe. We've been over this. No, like I feel like I do know that in the back of my mind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is something that I think a lot of people use interchangeably, myself included. So
who told you this? Was it a scientist?
I think this was on one of the podcasts I listened to. It might have been on MinMax, who I might mention after you are done with your stuff. Okay. So please continue.
Yeah, but it's just this caravan of cars going through this alternate dimension and encountering weird things. And Tessa Thompson's character, Alice, is recording all of these audio logs, and she's emailing them to a friend back home. And so every episode starts with her friend back home listening to these tapes. And he's telling his mom about them. You know what? Do you remember Alice? Alice, my friend from college? She sent me this weird recording. I don't know what she's up to. And his mom's like, who's Alice again? And he's like, Alice, you remember Alice. We were roommates once. We lived in that house together with some other people. I do not remember Alice. I'm sorry. And so he finds out he's the only person who remembers her. She goes into this alternate dimension and the only person who remembers her anymore.
Productions?
It is not. But it's got that vibe. It seems It seems a lot like Alice Isn't
and I
Dead.
was like, I wonder if,
No.
I was like, I wonder if it's connected. No.
Okay.
Oh well.
There's two different podcasts you can listen to about a woman named Alice driving into somewhere scary. This is the other one. Yeah, it seems like Alice Isn't Dead and something else. Oh, it did kind of remind me of Annihilation, a movie featuring Tessa Thompson, and that there is this weird change in reality that you are going to travel into for science. And they get in there, and it is they go through a forest where there is a deer, and they accidentally hit a deer with their car, and it starts mutating and screaming like a human. You still there?
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm still here. I missed what you said, but I'm going to pretend like I did. So yes, that sounds great.
Okay.
Wonderful. Bravo. Encore.
No, it's a really strong, really interesting audio drama, and it's not very long. I think it's 8 or 10 episodes. Okay. They're kind of around the half-hour mark.
That's not bad.
Yeah, you could get through it in a week or two. I recommend it. And the art, the cover art's also very pretty, which is a plus.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's my favorite audio drama of the year.
I've been wanting to get back into the audio drama scene and just see what's out there, because I loved what was out there when I was listening to Greater Boston and Wolf 359 and Ars Paradoxica and stuff like that. But I kind of fell off and then haven't really paid attention. And I know they've made things like the Far Meridian or the Big Loop or stuff. And I haven't really paid attention to that, or what the smaller ones out there, right, are. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll have to do some more audio drama in 2021 on the review show.
Yes.
Because I would like to bring that back, and I would maybe like to get some of the creators on this show. Just be like, hey, come hang out with us. Who are you? What do you do? How do you do it?
Yes, stuff tell us how. So, I'd like to make an audio drama someday.
And I have a dream of being a voice actor in an audio drama. And yeah, actually, I don't know how much I've told you the details, but Paul and I were at one point writing for an
I think
audio
you mentioned
drama.
that.
Yeah. We were writing for an audio drama called Terms, which is this like political thriller thing, which you guys heard me earlier in the thing and being like, I'm not super educated politically. But they were doing, I guess we're going to do like a special season where they got guest writers to do all of this stuff. And we were writing for that. I'll save that story for our 5-year anniversary retrospective. Because I feel like at this point something, because we never, like it never came out. It never got made. They never made their season 2. I'm just going to assume statute of limitations. And if I get in trouble, oh, well, who cares?
Okay.
I don't think they're going to do anything big. But yeah, I'll mention that story tomorrow on our 5-year anniversary retrospective.
Nice.
That should be fun. So go check that out.
I want to talk about a couple other favorite podcasts this year. These are some. Well, one of them is an improv comedy podcast called The Neighborhood Listen. And it's Paul F. Tompkins and Nicole Parker playing these characters who live in this little town, somewhere in USA named Dignity Falls. And they go through real posts on the like the neighborhood app or the Nextdoor app is its specific name.
Yeah.
I always forget because they never name it by name in the podcast. They're going through real posts on Nextdoor and like talking about them as if they're in this town, and they get a guest on every episode to like play somebody who has supposedly written one of these real world posts. It's so funny. It's been such a highlight of my year. Every time a new episode comes out, I'm so happy.
That's great.
For my birthday this year, I had to spend it by myself. I made this whole cake for myself just because I wanted to make a cake. And I'm like, well, I don't want to break the tradition of not like putting a candle in it and like blowing the candle out. I got wishes to make. I got moves to make. And then, so I'm like, am I going to sing happy birthday to myself alone in my apartment to then blow out a couple candles? And I thought, no. There's a new episode of The Neighborhood Listen out today. You're going to put on The Neighborhood Listen. You're going to sing along with that podcast theme song instead of Happy Birthday and then blow your
Do they have
out.
lyrics that you can sing along to? Or is it just like, you're like, la 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 la.
In
la,
Dignity
la, la.
Falls, you're never alone. You've got the Neighbor Hap app and us, Bert and Joan. From coyotes to mail theft to weird things to sell. We'll cover it all and meet new neighbors as well. We'll chat about any posts you're missing, so just tune in to The Neighborhood Listen.
That's wonderful.
It's so delightful. Please, go listen to The Neighborhood Listen. It is my favorite thing now. Okay. I also love Very Amusing, which is a podcast hosted by Carly Wiesel, a theme park journalist that's all about various theme park
imagine
things.
Having that as your job title. Theme park journalist.
Yeah, freelance theme park journalist. She's been all over the place. She's great at it. And she's finding all sorts of things to cover this year where many theme parks aren't open. Like she'll branch out. Yeah. Like there's been this trend on TikTok, apparently. So they're going to put a Ratatouille ride into the France Pavilion at Epcot in Disney World. And someone went on TikTok and they wrote a song just about Ratatouille because they're just excited for it. They're like looking forward to that ride and they're excited, just thinking about how good the movie is. And that kicked off this trend of people writing Ratatouille the musical songs.
Okay.
So she just talked to a bunch of these TikTok personalities who had written original like Broadway style musical songs about Ratatouille.
That's interesting.
And this month she is deemed it Shrekcember because she's Jewish. And she's like, there's hardly ever any Hanukkah representation in theme parks. So I'm going to have to find it for myself. Shrek is Jewish. So we're spending the whole month celebrating Shrek.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It's a delight. She just did an interview this week with the people who put together Shrek Fest.
Yeah.
Which is this
Shrek,
festival.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's this festival in Madison, Wisconsin every Labor Day that just celebrates Shrek, and they have an onion eating contest and they screen the movie. You like bring a picnic blanket and sit out on some lawn in Wisconsin. It sounds wonderful, and I would love to go the next time it is happening because Wisconsin's not very far. I can get to Wisconsin.
Not that bad, yeah.
And I also, I didn't find this podcast. They found me. This podcast followed me on Twitter, which happens sometimes. And sometimes I look them up. But this one I looked up and I listened to, and I'm like, this is absolutely up my alley. This is very specific content for me, and I love it. It's a podcast called The Zucchini Warriors. And it is these it's these adult siblings in Canada who are rereading all of the books by popular young adult author Gordon Corman, perhaps best known for the Bruno and Boots books, which were some of my favorite books when I was a kid. They were my older brother's books. And they got passed down to me, and they're these, they're beyond a chapter book. They're like, like a 200-page novel for like an 11-year-old to read, just about these boys getting into mischief in Canadian private schools. They're so chaotic. Okay. They're so funny. And it means a lot to me to hear people who have also loved these books. And they're like, we're going to reread them and recap the entire thing. And they've got all these segments and all these bits and all these games.
That's good. So I have an interesting thing to share. Speaking of podcast finding us. So I completely forgot about this until now. We got a message from... let's see, what is her name? She's at Sam Barbaro on Twitter. She is I don't know pronouns. They are the creator of The Fearsome Morning. And they messaged us on Twitter, and I completely forgot to respond, so I apologize.
Oh my God.
But I am shouting this out now. On December 7th, they said, hi, I wrote a podcast that you reviewed on the review show about 2 years ago, The Fearsome Morning. I wanted to get in touch to let you know that I'm releasing a new show.
Yes!
And this new show, it sounded really interesting. It's called, I think it's Assassinly. It's assassin.ly. And I believe that's the website, too. It's an audio drama about an assassination startup in New York where murder is legal, so long as you fill out the right paperwork. So that might have to be something we check out, but you just completely reminded me of that. And I was like, oh shit, I never responded. Thank you so much.
Yeah, send me that. Like screenshot that or something and send it to me. I love The Fearsome Morning. I'm so happy that the person who made that show found that episode that we made.
Yeah. So I'll respond to them once we're done recording this, but I just followed them back and stuff like that. So yeah, go check that stuff out. That'll be an interesting one, because the Fearsome Morning was a lot of fun. It was really wacky. I believe it was fast paced. I don't remember exactly what I said because it was a while back that we.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we did.
Yeah. That seems like an interesting premise. There you go.
So I'll have to look into that. Good. And that was a really funny audio drama too.
Yeah.
It's always a gem when you find ones that are like, this is more of a comedy than a drama.
Right. or that can like mix it well, where you want to know what's happening, or you want to know more about the characters or the world or all that stuff, but it's also like genuinely funny.
Right. This is why I love King Falls AM. I think they're really funny and really good at the drama alternately, like at the same time.
Indeed.
The other ones are funny too. Like Wolf 359 start out really funny, and it is still funny, but it like The
It
tone
ended
gets
up being more of a sci-fi of just like, let's
yeah,
go
and the
into, like,
tone
hard
gets
sci-fi. I'm
so
still on
dark.
that thing. Okay, there we go.
The stakes are so high by the end of it, and it's like, oh, I just miss when Doug didn't want to go to work.
Right. Good stuff.
And I want to take. Can I tell you about my single favorite podcast moment of the entire year, and then we can switch to something else?
Hold off on that. Let me shout out my next podcast.
Yes.
And then you can do your favorite podcasting moment of the year, because I don't really have one. So we'll save the best for last. So the next podcast I want to shout out, because you started mentioning some like new ones. Some new
2020 new ones. I think.
So this one.
Let me double check that the Zucchini Warriors came out this year. It might have been late 2019, but soon.
So the one I'm about to shout out is late 2019. Their first episode was, or I guess episode 0 was October 23rd, and then they released their first episode proper, I believe, that next week on October 31st. 2019. This is MinMax, the MinMax show. They are a video game podcast made up of a bunch of the employees from Game Informer. Game Informer, if you do not know, they are a magazine. They are also owned by GameStop, the video game store, but GameStop has been going downhill as of late in the recent years and stuff like that. And I guess like early fall last year, it got hit with some big news. They got hit with a bunch of layoffs and stuff like that. And so it was kind of immediately like, oh shit, what do we do? We're out of a job. What if we start up a Patreon and just make our own thing and just keep doing what we're doing? Because we already kind of have the audience for it. So maybe it'll work. And that's what they did. So they've been going for a little over a year now. And I love their show. Their intro to the show, they say something along the lines of like, hey, welcome to the MinMax show. But then their tagline is a show about games, friends, and getting better. And so it's just this idea of like, hey, it's not just about like getting better in these games, but like just at life, like how do we be better people and stuff. And they just have a lot of fun and they're so genuine.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's a really, really great show that I highly recommend if you are interested in video games in the slightest.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah, they have all sorts of games that they do each week on there, and not just like video games that they play, but like, hey, we're playing video game 20 questions, or who this or that, or and all sorts of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. They cover news, reviews, things that they play in, all sorts of stuff. So go check them out. And if you see me in my blue t-shirt with the arrows on it, that is from MinMax.
Nice.
That's their thing, and they're from Minnesota.
What's Central Time Zone like me?
There you go. Yeah,
they could drive to Shrek Fest and it wouldn't take very long.
I don't know if Shrek Fest is what they would do, but so I guess I should also mention that under the MinMax umbrella, similar to how we operate here at the Whatnauts, we have multiple podcasts, and so do they.
Yes.
So MinMax is their main podcast, which is a play on the word, or I guess the term min-maxing, which is more of like making sure all of your stats are like maxed out and stuff like that. And you know, make sure they're all min-maxed. And also, again, they're in Minnesota. So min-max with two N's, like Minnesota.
I couldn't hear that second N.
Right? Min-max. But it's wonderful. But they do a number of other shows on top of that. I know they have a music podcast that they review different albums every week or something like that. I think that one is or used to be called Mintrax, and I think then they changed it to something else at one point. For a short stint, they also had Min Snacks, where they reviewed snacks and stuff. It was great. But then they have another podcast called Better Quest, which is, I think, I don't know if it's weekly or like monthly or who knows what. But yeah, it is them kind of talking about or dissecting different things about how to become better people. I on the recent one, they mentioned something about doing like addiction to social media and just like, is that something you should be worried about? Is that something that really makes a difference? Is that a real thing? What are the effects? All of that stuff. So they just look to improve themselves. And they are a wonderful community. So go check them out. So that is my shout out to MinMax.
Nice. I want to give a shout out to, as mentioned earlier, All Fantasy Everything.
Good stuff.
Earlier this year, in I think it was April, because this was the first episode that they recorded in quarantine. So when they would record in person, they would record at Ian's house, and he named his house the Fortress of Solid Dudes.
Sure.
So when they had to start doing it online through video calls, they called it the Legion of Zoom.
Okay, good. I like them. I like them.
So they did an episode about items that look edible but aren't, aka forbidden snacks. And they were going around drafting things that look good but you can't eat it, like like insulation, pink cotton candy fiberglass insulation, or like lava or paint.
Dude, I wouldn't eat paint. No, I don't think I would. I don't think that would be on my list.
It looks good. That's the whole point.
I can understand lava. Lava is intriguing. I would want to eat that and just be like, mouth? Right? Yes?
Mouth?
Mouth? But paint? No. I don't think I would want paint.
But it's an hour and a half of things like that. And then it's
it's great.
David says he wants to eat a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and he's trying to explain it to them. You have to listen to them tell it, Kyle.
So I've listened to one of their shows a long time ago, and it was great. I liked it, but just not something that I would keep up with week to week. But yeah, things that look edible but aren't. That's great.
They get a lot out of it, and it's the end of the episode. They've done all their picks, and they're naming their like honorable mentions, things they also considered putting on their lists.
Okay.
And Sean Jordan, that sweet skateboard angel, just mutters, human lung. And they're like, what? a human lung? And he's like, I think it looks good. It looks good to me. And anyway, I also had marbles on the list, and Ian's like, no, we're not talking about marbles. Sean, a lung?
That's great.
I have gone back and listened to that part of the podcast 4 times this year. I probably will next year. At least one time a year until I die. I'm gonna listen to
I'm gonna have to go back and check that one out. That sounds wonderful.
He wants to eat.
That's great. All that stuff. Okay. Melissa, we should get on to our favorite movies and TV shows. Oh, no, you still have your favorite what was
I'm
that
done
your
with
favorite
podcasting
moment of the year? That was your all-time favorite. Okay.
Yeah, number one of the year goes to lung. I also have I have some movies, I have some TV. I also have some my favorite YouTube videos of the year.
Ooh,
I spend so much time there.
That. Okay, so let's start out with favorite YouTube videos, since I don't have that. That way you can just be like, bam, 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 here are these things. Go check them out.
Okay. Well, I have made an entire playlist of these.
Great. We'll send me a link to that playlist, and we will put that in the description to the podcast.
I wanted to do this just for myself because I spend so much time watching YouTube perhaps to the detriment of how I take in other forms of media. Like, I
Yeah.
could watch more real TV or read a little bit more, but no, I'm on YouTube a lot. Like, I might as well make a list
YouTube
at the
is
end of the
good.
year.
Yeah.
So here are some of my favorites. There's this British guy named Tom Scott who does these short informative videos where he just tells you a fun fact. And he has a video called "My Unlicensed Hovercraft Bar is Technically Legal," where he goes to a place
Okay.
that like has a hovercraft, and like you take a hovercraft course for a day and you drive a hovercraft around for a little bit, like one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, because we are not on British soil, I can pour and sell drinks on this hovercraft,
God.
and it is legal. And it's a
they're
video of-
floating.
right.
They're floating above. Oh my God, that's so dumb. It's
And he's
brilliant, but it's so
and he's
dumb.
screaming all of this over the roar of the hovercraft. So the video is like subtitles on it.
Technically, this is all legal.
It's some of the funnest, silliest 5 minutes you will watch this year.
That's great.
There's stuff I've already talked about this year. Like, I watched that documentary about Deep Blue, the chess computer. I watched that
Yeah, you mentioned
documentary
that.
about Halix, the sci-fi themed rock band that played at
Yeah, I remember that.
Disneyland for one summer in the 80s. There's a video from Defunct Land, which talks about defunct theme park attractions and a little bit more about associated parts of theme park history. And they have a video called "The Craziest Party Walt Disney Ever Threw." And it's talking about the
Okay.
production of Snow White.
Go
And this video
on.
is from the beginning of the year, so I don't totally remember how it goes, but I think like the Disney animators were like really rushing and like really pushing themselves to make the first full-length animated feature ever. A real
Sure, yeah.
landmark in cinema, something truly valuable. They're working very hard. And like Walt Disney was throwing them this huge party. Like, he rented out a hotel somewhere, and like they had a huge banquet and gave each other awards and things. And they're all, drinking and partying at this banquet. And I think they've been expecting bonuses. And then somebody tells them, "Oh no, the party is the bonus." And then everybody just like, well, heck, if this is the bonus, bar's open, we're going to keep drinking. And it's just about all these drunk animators destroying this hotel, like
That's
jumping
wonderful.
from second floor windows into the pool.
That's wonderful.
It's,
I love
it's
it.
40 minutes long, but it is absolutely worth it. And
I love to see it.
there's a channel called How to Drink that's about mixology. And he did a video making all of the terrible cocktails that Dr. Venture makes in the Venture Brothers.
Wonderful. You have to like comment on one of his videos or something and do a like, hey, suggest a wine that goes well with the Drops of God manga. Like what pairs
He's not a
well
wine
with
guy. He's a mixology guy.
Well, step up your game, bro.
Jeez, Greg.
You know what I mean?
You're not
Yeah.
doing enough.
Jeez, Greg. Come on.
I've been loving this YouTube channel called Junkyard Joust, which is a spin-off of Blame Society, the YouTube channel where Welcome to the Basement is. I've talked about them a lot.
Oh, right. Okay.
Junkyard Joust is just Aaron Yonda taking Hot Wheels cars, and he's designed this like whole backdrop and this track for them. And he just sends Hot Wheel after Hot Wheel down this track. He doesn't remove them. And the game is they're all going to like crash over each other. And if at the end of the round, if you are upright, even if you're completely off the track, as long as you are upright, you win and you get to continue on to the next round. So it's just cars smashing into cars. And every car has a name, and they're all assorted into like themed teams, and every team has a logo.
That's wonderful.
It's my new favorite sport.
The things people think up and can seem like, wow, that is the dumbest thing, but that sounds wonderful. Let me watch.
I love it. And I found a YouTube channel called
understand.
The Real Gems that has a lot of good Simpsons content, including a series on Simpsons mysteries. And there's
Okay.
like an 18-minute video about how the layout of the Simpsons house does not make sense. and how rooms just appear and vanish. And it is one of the most enjoyable things I've watched all year. I love it so much.
Okay.
Just like,
Okay.
yeah, there's a door down that hallway and we never go down the hallway and we never see what's behind the door. It's so eerie.
The amount of research that goes into that, I'm just like, do we, in all 20 million seasons of The Simpsons, do we ever go in that door? And you have to watch for that specifically. And then you
Yes.
realize, oh, wait, there's another door. Oh, shit. Now we have to go back and watch 300 episodes all over again to figure out if we went in that one. Crazy.
Yeah, that's some of my faves. Oh, and then my boy Brutal Moose, my very favorite. He started a series of videos this year called Mystery Tapes, where he just goes onto like eBay and buys like a giant box of sold as blank VHS tapes, like VHS tapes that are like from somebody's house that they've recorded over, and they're just being sold as blank tapes now, basically like you take it and you record over it. And he just goes through all these tapes and just tells you what's on them. And it's just like clips of forgotten TV shows and weird local commercials. And it's really fun. And he's done like 4 or 5 of these.
That's great.
Yep. That's great. That's some of the highlights of my YouTube list.
I'm not a YouTube like just random video watcher. I go there for like tutorials as well as like video podcasts that I enjoy. Like it's very specific stuff that I'm like, I want to watch this thing rather than like, oh, cat video. Let's watch that. You know,
I love it. I think you have an idea of what you might find on Netflix. You really have no idea what you're going to find on YouTube. Like, I've got another video on here that is 35 new shows of fall TV 1997. And it's this channel that just goes through every year since like the 80s or 90s. I think it was even farther back than that, but maybe not consistently. I don't know if they've got every year. But it's like, here are the opening credits to every TV show that premiered on all of the major networks that fall. So it's just 18 straight minutes of TV theme songs. Some for like very popular shows and some for things you've never heard of. I love these. This is the joy of exploration. Oh, YouTube gets me something like no other form of entertainment does.
That's great. That is great. Is that all of your YouTube stuff that you want to shout out?
I'm not going to read you 30, so I've read you enough.
Okay. Let's see. I'll start out with my movies. My top 5 movies that I watched this year. Actually, you know what we should do? Let's take a very, very quick break.
Okay.
And then we will be right back. And then we will get into all of that stuff and finish up the episode. We will be right back.
Okay. I will be right here.
out.
Mm.
And we are back. Okay. So Melissa just updated us with all of the YouTube stuff she has been watching. Let's get on with our favorite movies that we have watched this year. So I picked out my top 5, but I don't have them in any particular order other than I'm going to list these in the order that I watched them. So I guess chronologically. The first movie of the year that I was just like, oh, wow, this is amazing, was Velocipaster.
Oh, yes.
This was great. This was, I believe, available on Amazon Prime. And this is one of the best, dumbest movies you are ever gonna watch. It's great. Please go watch this. I knew it was gonna be like low budget, like B movie thing, but it was a more like modern day one. And they completely sold me on this film in the one of the opening scenes where the main character, who's a priest, or he's a pastor, right? He's giving his sermon, and his parents are there at the sermon, or they show up late. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But he walks outside after church, and he looks down the street, and he sees his parents at their car, just standing there, and be like, "Hey, son, we love you." And then he starts to wave back like, "Hey, I love you too." And then there's it goes to their parents. It shows a picture of an explosion, and then it shows the car completely gone. His parents are completely gone. It's just like those things where you stop the camera, right? And then you move the stuff that's not supposed to be in there, and then you start recording again. It's that. And it's like explosion. It says there, and then it shows him, and he's just like, no. And I'm like, this is gold. I love this. It's terrible, and I love it. It's amazing.
It sounds really fun. I'll have to check that out.
It is. At least don't go in thinking this movie is gonna win an Oscar or something like that, right? Go into this being like, I'm gonna have a damn good time because this movie is ridiculous. And yeah, it's about a pastor who teams up with I guess a local hooker, and he gets bit by a velociraptor and gets the powers to turn into a velociraptor, a velocipaster, if you will. And then they fight ninjas.
Always got to fight a ninja. Can't let a ninja go unthwarted.
It's great, yeah. So that was the first one that I watched this year that I was just like, wow, amazing. Number 2, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, beautiful movie. Gorgeous. So I guess I had heard of this director before. I forget, Villeneuve.
Dune.
Right, yeah, he's making the new Dune stuff. I don't remember his name exactly, but he also did, I think it was Arrival?
I believe so, yes.
It's one of those ones. And that movie really, really got me interested in his work, because it felt like a genuine sequel to Blade Runner, but the visuals, the aesthetic was just gorgeous. I think it is one of the most beautiful films I have ever seen. And you guys know me, I'm also a huge cyberpunk fan, so this was just like, oh, this is great. I love this. Beautiful. But yeah, I'm now really, really interested in Dune, which I know is like a major sci-fi film, but and book, but I had never really been interested in it enough to what is Dune? I don't know what this thing is.
Spice.
Worms and Spot, yeah, but now I'm interested in reading the book this year, so that when the new movie comes out, maybe I'll know what they're talking about. So, yeah, but I want to know more about this director and the stuff that he is working on and has worked on because of Blade Runner 2049. So that was great.
Kyle, I gotta say that for someone who does not typically read much prose, the fact that you are committing to a book as long and dense as Dune is quite a feat.
I think I mentioned like a month ago that I was wanting to get into reading more books in 2021, but to actually do audiobooks rather than sit down and read them. So I think that's what I might do with this.
Okay.
Just see if they have.
Tell me how Dune sounds.
Audiobook.
Who reads Dune?
Version. Yeah. Who knows? We'll find out. Update in 2021. Don't touch that dial.
Don't you dare go to Audible and look this up by yourself, audience. You have to wait for Kyle to tell you.
They don't sponsor us. Fuck them. Listen to me. Okay. Calm down, Kyle. After that, movie number 3, Parasite.
Ah, yeah.
Wow, what a great film. I've seen The Host, which is another film from the same director, Bong Joon-ho. And I had heard a lot of great things about Parasite. And then we watched it for the review show, and that was featuring you and our lovely friend of the show, and I guess friend in real life for you, and Patreon supporter. We love her a lot. Jack,
many accolades,
who has been on our show. Yeah. And I was there as a producer on that one. I was there in the background, and I mentioned one thing, but it was mainly you guys. Yeah. But yeah, that movie was wonderful. Please, there's I know there's a handful of people out there who don't like reading subtitles and therefore don't explore a lot of foreign content and stuff. And to me, that's just baffling. Not that you don't like subtitles and stuff. That I can understand at least somewhat, but to just to think of the amount of content that's out there outside of the United States, or just outside of English speaking countries, that is like top notch, and just like, this is really good. Like, please go watch this, or go consume this media thing here, right? Is baffling. There's so much good stuff. So please go watch Parasite. It's wonderful. It's phenomenal.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
You get to see this prestigious Oscar, Cannes winning film just on Hulu. Not to disparage Hulu. I was saying, it is very easy for you to get this thing. Don't think that just because it's some fancy Oscar winning thing that you have to buy it. You do not.
Yeah. Yeah. Though I did hear that they already have a Criterion Collection version of that film, which I am debating on buying. I don't buy movies nowadays because I like to get things digitally. But that's one that I'm like, I don't know, maybe if they have a steelbook edition or something.
I don't think Criterion does steelbooks. I've never bought a Criterion. I think that's one of my goals for 2021 is I will buy one Criterion.
Good stuff. Criteria for 2021 is Criterion number 1.
The criteria is Criterion.
So that,
sounds
my fourth
like the
film.
Name of some very haughty academic essay that I have to process. You keep talking. I'm just over here making dumb jokes to myself. I'm all full of swampnog, Kyle. Keep talking.
That's okay. You got super laggy, so I missed it, but I will hear it in post. and I'm sure it was great. That was a knee slapper. Melissa, you're great. You're funny. I have no idea what you just said, but yeah. So my fourth film is Only God Forgives.
Ah, Drive 2.
Yeah. I say yes, but also no. So this was back when I had that random Ryan Gosling kick. I just happened to watch a bunch of movies because we watched Remember the Titans, and then shortly after that is when I was like, Blade Runner 2049, I'm gonna watch that. And then I watched Drive, and then I was like, you know what, why not? I'm also gonna watch Only God Forgives. And Only God Forgives was really interesting. That was a film that I was just like, this is... I like this, but this is not for everyone.
Now, is that a literal sequel to Drive, or is it a spiritual sequel to Drive?
They're not related. Period.
Okay, I thought they were in the same narrative. Okay, I guess it is it feels like Drive a lot.
Let me see. Who was Drive directed by? That's what I need to look up.
It's big finger quotes Drive 2.
Only God Forgives movie.
Only God forgives movies.
Drive, you're right. Because Drive was directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, and I guess this was too. So yeah, so I guess the connection is that it stars Ryan Gosling, and it's directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. Who, by the way, if you're a big fan of video games, plays a character in Death Stranding by Kojima.
Wow.
Yeah, which I loved that game. But yeah, and I guess just the kind of neon aesthetic, but I liked Only God Forgives a hell of a lot more than I liked Drive. I still liked
interesting
Drive.
To hear.
Only God Forgives is more artsy. There's a lot more sequences where there's no talking, and it's just silent. Well, it's not silent, but then, there's ambient sound and stuff like that, but there's no dialogue. Yeah, I feel like I have to go watch that again, because I don't know if at this moment I can give you a good synopsis of what that film is or what it's about, but it is more artsy-fartsy than Drive is. Whereas Drive, I can be like, this guy is a professional driver, gets mixed up in some shit, and then has to, figure his way out. If that makes sense. But yeah, Only God Forgives. I liked that one a lot. So there you go. Last but not least for me on movies, this one came out of nowhere for me. My girlfriend recommended this one, and we watched it together. It's called I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen this?
No, I don't know if could I? Should I?
I believe it's on Netflix. It might be a Netflix original. This was also a really interesting film.
It's a Kaufman, isn't it?
Oh, I have no idea. But it also is a much more artsy film. And it's a film. I don't know if I know what this film was about. Like, as you watch it, it starts out very normal. It's about this girl. She's like, I have this new boyfriend. We're about to go to his parents for, I guess, the holidays or Thanksgiving or something. I don't remember what. And they have this long road trip to get there. And just as the movie progresses, it gets weird and weirder and weirder, just to the by time the ending of this film, you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch? That was strange. And it's not a horror film, but there are moments that are scary in the sense that this is tense. I have no idea what's happening. What is going on? It's not actually scary. Scary. So if you're out there and you're thinking I don't like scary films, like me, this is not that. But there are some moments that are just so tense that you're just like, what is going on? I don't understand what's happening now. And yeah, it's intriguing to say the least. And it stuck with me in a weird way. Like that, like this film and Only God Only God Forgives, I think are the two films that stuck with me this year. I'm just like, this was weird. I liked this. So good stuff there. Those are my top 5 films of 2020 that I watched.
Good list. Let's see. I didn't make a top 5 list, and I left out things we already covered on the review show. I thought I'd talk about those in the retrospective.
Sure.
And I know there's movies I'm forgetting about. I watch a movie with Jack almost every week, and I tried to go back through our text logs to make sure there weren't any I was forgetting about, and I only got back like like 6
months,
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Less than that.
Let's see. I want to read to you the back of the DVD box from the movie Ghost.
Okay.
Think of the most touching love story you ever saw. Think, too, of the brightest comedy, the most astonishing supernatural tale, and a sleek mystery thriller. Did you come up with 4 separate films? Or are you among the millions of fans and critics who've discovered Ghost, the #1 film of 1990?
What the hell is this?
It's Ghost. You know Ghost.
No, I don't. I know Casper. He's a friendly
You don't know the sexy pottery wheel? You've seen this.
Pottery wheels are kind of sexy when you think about them.
You've seen somebody parody this. So it's Demi Moore in this cute short haircut, and she's doing a pottery, and then up comes behind her
doing a pottery.
her boyfriend Patrick Swayze, and he's shirtless, and he sits behind her.
Is he like helping her form the pottery?
With the pottery, and it's playing like the Righteous Brothers. It's incredibly romantic. It's one of the most romantic scenes committed to cinema. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen a
knockoff.
So I finally watched that whole movie this year, and
that's wild.
It's 125 minutes long.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
2 hours, but
I feel like it's longer than the equivalent of this movie would be today. It's not bad. I just think it's interesting that it's 125 minutes.
That's long for 1990.
It is.
Because like I think back to like old movies we had on VHS. Most of them can fit on one, except for Titanic and Ben-Hur.
Right? Long Boys.
I haven't seen Ben-Hur. I have no idea what that's actually about.
It's a chariot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a chariot for 3 hours or if there are other things in it. Maybe we'll have to watch one of these years and find out.
If we can come up with the third movie that was on VHS, like that can be our theme of like
movies that would take 2
movies that would be on 2 VHSs for the review show. That's a great theme.
Okay, I am going to look this up later. Look for this in the new year. It's not even going to matter because we're going to watch it on streaming somewhere.
Challenge accepted.
Now, if only I had my throwback cinema room with like the 50-inch big butt TV.
Right?
Eating Bunch of Crunch and other old snacks. Ghost is good. I'm here to tell you it's a delight to watch. It is romantic. It is funny. It's one thing to know that somebody has won an Oscar for a performance, and it's another thing to watch them win the Oscar for that performance. Whoopi Goldberg won an Oscar for this.
And Whoopi Goldberg is in that. Interesting. Okay.
She plays a psychic, and Patrick Swayze's like, she's the only person who can hear him. At one point, he she invites him. She's like, hey, get in my body, possess my body, and then I'll hold Demi Moore's hand for you. And Demi Moore and I will dance to the Righteous Brothers song. So it's like your soul will dance.
Supposedly straight romance, but it's disguised as a lesbian romance.
I don't know. Well, in that scene, like it cuts away and it's shot with Patrick Swayze, but in the back of my mind, Whoopi Goldberg is there.
Interesting.
Let's see. Ghost was good. I spent a lot of time this year crossing off like movies I heard about when I was a kid. And I'm like, now that I'm an adult, I should watch that. I watched Being John Malkovich by Charlie Kaufman. That's a whole heck of a thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
It's very ridiculous. There's a lot going on. It's fun. It's fun. Like, there are some sad moments, but it never ruins the mood.
Okay.
I think I talked about this. This was one of those movies that I watched when I had like 3 Cameron Diaz movies in a week. She's amazing in this. She's really delightful.
What was I don't remember the name of it, but it was the one with the elevator scene. Is that right? No, that's.
Oh no, that's My Best Friend's Wedding. I watched My Best Friend's Wedding and Mask and Being John Malkovich all in 1 week. Yeah. What a chaotic week.
That did have her in that film, though, right?
Yes. Those were the 3 films.
That's what I was thinking.
The 3 Days of Diaz. That was good. Let's see. Some of these I've talked about. I talked about Fright Night. I've talked about Logan Lucky on the review show a couple times. I was really impressed with that one. 2 movies I watched at the beginning of the year, pre-quarantine. I spent some time with our friend Leonardo DiCaprio. I watched Catch Me If You Can and The Aviator.
Catch Me If You Can is good. I remember that one. I'll have to watch that one again soon because I remember that being great, and then I just haven't watched it in like a decade.
It is Christmas happens in it. You could watch it right now.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good to know. Maybe I will do that this winter break.
I think my favorite movie that I saw this year is Rocket Man.
Rocket Man!
Which I expected I would like. Elton John's a favorite of mine. He has been since I was a kid.
Gotcha. That's what I was about to ask. Which Rocket Man are you talking about?
Not the Harlan Williams one, although I appreciate that
one
as well.
Right, yeah.
It also holds its place on this earth. Like, I knew I would like this movie, and I didn't see it when it came out because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go see that with my dad. Like, my dad got me into this music. And my dad's so fickle with movies. He's like, yeah, I'd be interested in seeing this. But every time I watch it, I like ask him, like, you want to watch that tonight? He's like, not tonight. I got something I'm doing. I'm tired. There's a baseball game on. I have to watch this rerun of NCIS. I have to.
Yeah.
So, like, it takes forever for me to get him to sit down and watch a movie. And sometimes he just watches them without me because I think he forgot that I asked him, hey, do you want to watch this with me sometime?
Side note, doesn't Disney Plus now have the, like, watch at the same time feature thing?
It does. I haven't tried it out yet.
I should try that out with my parents this holiday break and see if we can watch something together. Cool. Continue. Sorry.
It took me a while to see this movie. My roommate really loved it. She'd watch it like 7 times. And so we put it on one night while we were like both home at the same time and like we were making dinner together. I was really struck by it. It's visually wonderful. It's a great movie to look at. There's great performances in it. And it hit me on a very personal level because it's this music I've loved since I was a little kid. Like, you know the song Tiny Dancer?
Yeah, right.
Ever since I was a kid, like I've loved that song, but it's filled me with such wistful longing because it's so romantic. Like, even when I'm like 8 years old, like, boy, I wish I could be like some man with like dashing flowing hair and like a shirt with some buttons open would like hold me
Fabio
and
himself.
we'd stare out at like a canyon while this song plays, you know? It was a very daydreamy child. Like, man, can't wait to have that. And like, I get older and like, I've still never had that. I've never had the feeling that the song Tiny Dancer makes me feel. It's always made me feel lonely because it's such a romantic, intimate song. But the scene that they orchestrate to go along with this in the movie is Elton John goes to a party. And it's like one of the first parties after he's become a musician. Like, he's not big yet. He's played like 2 shows. it's like his first week in America after, he's traveled outside of England. It's him and his buddy, the songwriter, and his songwriter like finds a date at the party and like goes off with the date. And it's like, it's just Elton John wandering through this giant like Hollywood party, looking around, and everybody is with somebody. And he's like the one lone person there. Like I spent my whole life imagining the song coming from somebody who is in a happy place. So to watch it played out like, no, it's from the same place you have always been.
That's kind of wild though. I'm just like, it's actually flipped on your head. Mm-hmm. It's not what you thought, but it's what you are.
Weird?
It was the tiny dancer, Melissa.
Right? I'm the one longing for the tiny dancer.
Exactly.
I don't know which one of them's the tiny dancer in the song.
Are we humans or are we tiny dancers?
Regular dancer or tiny dancer?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a movie I still think about after seeing it in like June. I can see that being a movie that I watch frequently throughout my life.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. You got any TV shows to kind of end the night?
Do. Yeah. I actually have TV shows and comics.
Oh, do you want me to do comics?
My comics first or save those for last? Okay, let's do comics then. So these aren't exactly in order that I read them because like comics come out monthly. And I also do a lot of like older comics that I read and stuff like that. But here's what I enjoyed this year. Again, this is in no particular order, but number one here on my list is Daredevil, written by Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, I didn't know he was writing Daredevil.
He is, and that is honestly kind of surprising. Well,
yeah.
It's surprising in the sense that I didn't expect him to do that book, but it's not surprising in terms of talent. Like he is a very talented writer, right? Yeah.
But when I think of him, I think of how funny he is, and Daredevil is not funny.
He's dark and gritty. Like it's meant to be like as dark as Batman kind of thing of just like, yeah, it's raining, it's dark, parents are dead, right?
Wake me up inside.
Wake me up inside. And he writes an incredible Daredevil. It's so good. Like I've been loving this series, and yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. It's I mean, yeah, sure, it's new reader friendly to an extent, but I mean it is absolutely worth checking out because he writes it so well. I think at this point in time, Matt Murdock has kind of retired as Daredevil, and he's seeing things happen within the city that he's not liking, and things are like slowly pulling him back in.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, there's this new cop that has kind of not taken over, but he's one of the main characters in the book, and he is very like anti-superhero, anti-vigilante, stuff like that, and he's kind of ending up having to be forced to work with Daredevil. And it's really, really good to see them kind of work together, come together, do all of that stuff. It's fantastic. Please go check out Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky. I'm not sure who does the art off the top of my head, but the art is also phenomenal, especially the covers.
Oh.
Please go check out the cover art. It is beautiful. Apologies for not remembering the name on that, but they're wonderful. Next up on my list, you've heard me mention it a number of times on the review show as secretly one of DC's best books. This is Justice League Dark.
Oh, yeah.
This is a team of Justice League members led by Wonder Woman, focusing on magic users, if that makes sense. So it's the team is Wonder Woman, Detective Chimp, Man Bat, Swamp Thing, John Constantine, eventually Dr. Fate. Detective Chimp. He is a talking chimpanzee, and he is a detective. Best
man
of both
size or chimp size?
Worlds. Chimp size. Regular chimp size. And he has on the like Sherlock Holmes hat, the like double build thing. It's wonderful.
I Googled him and he does just look like what you think he would look like. There's no surprises here.
Exactly. Like it's a detective chimp. But yeah, that book has secretly been DC Comics' best book as of the past year and a half, 2 years. It's been phenomenal.
I am a little bit surprised. He has a sword, which neither a chimp nor a detective typically has.
He gets that sword from Blue Devil, if I'm not mistaken, who is a character I don't really know anything about. But he's in that series there. But yeah, the first arc of that story, so I guess background of that story, there's an event that happens within DC Comics. I think this is around like Scott Snyder's Death Metal, I believe is what it was called. And as a result of that event, they break this thing called the Source Wall, which is like the edge of the universe, basically. Right? Like it is the like you can go. What's the movie with Jim Carrey where he's in the
Truman Show?
Yes, exactly. You know how you can like go to the end and like touch the wall there, and it's like that. So think of that, but just at like in the DC comics of like this is the entirety of your universe, right? And there is a definitive end point, at that thing. They end up breaking that wall, and that means bad things for reality and existence and like what existential stuff. And so the Justice League ends up forming 3 different teams. There's the regular, just plain old Justice League. There's the Justice League Dark and Justice League Odyssey. So it's 3 separate books you can go read. They're all off on their own adventures, but Justice League Dark in particular focuses on magic stuff. And that first arc is about, okay, now that the Source Wall is broken, what does that mean for magic? Like now that existence is all fucked up and stuff like that. Like what does that mean for magic? Is magic dying? Can we save magic? How do we save magic? Right. And so it's all that stuff, and it's phenomenal. For a while, it was co-written by James Tynion IV and Ram the 5th. I'm not sure. He didn't do all that stuff. I recently followed him on Twitter, but he is phenomenal stuff. So please go check out that book. Number 3 on my list is The Flash, written by Joshua Williamson. I've been a fan of The Flash for a while, but I had never really gotten into his comics. I tried with the New 52. I believe Jeff Johns was writing that, and it was okay. It started off really good, and then I fell off. But then I like... You also know me, I'm a big fan of like continuity and the lore and the post-crisis DC continuity and stuff like that. And DC Rebirth kind of brought some of that stuff back without spoiling it. But in a way that when I read that, I was like, holy shit, this is great. I love this stuff. So I started to read The Flash with that, and it's been phenomenal. This is a series that truly made me fall in love with The Flash. I love this series. The character is phenomenal. Joshua Williamson did great on this book. To add his own like new characters as well as revisit the old ones and do all his spin on that stuff. Please go read that book. It is great. Next up, we covered this on the review show, but Black Hammer.
Yeah.
That was a great book. If you like superhero stuff, if you like mysteries, this is the book for you, where it is an indie superhero related title. They are superheroes trapped in this new world. This big like world-ending crisis happened, and they all got transported to this new place, and they don't really know where they are. I don't remember. Did they lose their memories in that one?
No, they remember everything, but nobody around them
knows
acts like anything that they went through happened.
Right. And there's also this bubble that they're trapped in.
Yeah.
They can only stay like within their city, and so they're trying to figure out what happened and all of that stuff. And that series is great. It's a great mystery. There's some wonderful characters and just a good mystery to the whole thing of like, ooh, what is happening? And you get some it's like, oh, like, okay, that guy is the like Superman, Thor character, right? And this person is the more magic-based Swamp Thing references. Like they had characters in there that was like Len and Bernie. And it was like, okay, that's Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. I like that stuff. So that stuff was good. Go check out that book. And I know currently they are putting out a number of like solo series of like the characters in that book. They're getting their own spin-offs and stuff. So you guys should go check that stuff out too. Last but not least, for the comics, Naomi is the book. It is a 6-issue miniseries. I guess this first volume was entitled Season 1. So I guess they're eventually going to do more. And I've read some comics recently that have a direct continuation of like, you read that, now read this thing, right? But this is about a girl who is adopted. And all of a sudden she finds out she has superpowers and stuff like that. And it really stuck with me because I am also adopted. And I know you can kind of use that metaphor with Superman to like, he was adopted by, mom and pa Kent. But they don't really focus on that. And this comic really focused on that, where she is a young black girl, and her parents are white. So it stands out rather than Clark Kent, who's like, he fits in, right? But yeah, she finds out she is like from another dimension and she has superpowers and all of this stuff, and she's a brand new character to the DC universe. And her like the first volume, you really don't need to know anything about DC comics except for like, I know who Superman is and I know who Batman is, and that's it. And you can jump in right there and everything is brand new. And it's just like that magic of like, whoa, what is this universe? I now have superpowers and stuff. And it's wonderful. It's a great story, especially with how well Miles Morales has been doing. I think Naomi is a character to keep your eye on. I think she down the road will be in DC movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Actually, I think they announced recently a CW TV show for Naomi.
Does she have an alter ego, like a superhero name?
Not yet.
Okay. What does she do?
Well, she has these like energy powers, so she can fly because of the energy. Like it's still unclear. Like she's discovering it all. That's good. That's a good angle.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's good fun. But those are my favorite comics that I read this
Nice.
year.
Very comprehensive.
Do you want to start with your TV shows?
I don't really have many because I watch most of my TV
Go for it.
for the review show. I think the other things I've watched this year, like I've been slowly working through So Weird, the old Disney Channel spooky kids show from the late 90s that I love.
Have you finished that yet?
I'm like 10 episodes away from the end of it. Like, there's no stakes to me finishing it. Nobody,
that makes
like,
sense.
I'm the only person I know who was watching this, so I've got nobody to prod me along. I'll finish it eventually. Sometimes I watch it at lunch.
That show
during my work break. Sometimes I cycle out with YouTube videos or something I need to watch for podcast homework. Yeah. I'm taking it at a pace. I tend to watch any TV show very slowly. Unless I've got like a podcast deadline on me, I'm really not a binger. You know, I think I'm only a binger if a show is like particularly thrilling or if it is like very short for me to absorb. Like The Queen's Gambit.
Right.
I love The Queen's Gambit. And that I think is just 7 or 8 episodes.
I think
I talked
8.
about this a couple weeks ago, but just to reiterate again, it's good. And not only is it good, it's very sweet. It's a heartwarming show. Like it's very compelling as a drama, but I ended the show feeling lighter than I would have expected the way the show began. So if you want a good palate cleanser, like between longer dramas, or if you're looking for something here on the holiday break, check out The Queen's Gambit. She goes to all these chess competitions and plays chess against all these people, and more often than not, like they're friends with her. Like they mean her well. Like they all just love chess.
I heard someone compare her to Goku in Dragon Ball Z, where she just has a great attitude and loves doing it, and is like, "Oh, cool, you're stronger than me. I'll still beat you, but we'll be friends, right?" Like I don't know how accurate that is.
She's not quite as outgoing as Goku, but you're right. I understand.
That's great.
This is a show where like every opponent kind of becomes part of the extended friend group.
That's wonderful. Okay, good.
So
I was
like
this close to buying the novel for my mom for Christmas because it's based off of a book, and she ended up watching that show and was like, "I really liked it." And I was like, maybe I should get her the book. Oh well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't feel like I've got many shows to talk about. It's really just that one this year.
Okay.
The only show that I've been watching that I haven't talked about, this is a new one. This is a sketch comedy show on Netflix called Auntie Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun.
Never heard of it.
It just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's this sketch troupe of 3 guys from Australia. And it's like a 6-episode show. The episodes are very short. They're like 20 minutes long. And I heard about it because it's produced by some of the people from Comedy Bang Bang, which I love. And it's that same very absurd, very silly kind of humor. And the show is it's a riot. Like, it's so preposterous. I was cackling at it, absolutely cackling at it. They've got gags like it's these 3 guys who live in a house, and like every time they open a door or a cabinet, there's a loud sound effect of a man's voice saying "creak."
That's like the explosion in Velocipaster.
Right.
Just explosion.
And like one of these, like the 3 guys will be in a scene, and then a 4th character who will enter played by one of those 3 same guys. And then we'll cut back to that guy, and he's been replaced by a mannequin.
Wonderful.
So if like Zach's in the scene and then Zach has to play the guy who walks in, they're like, "Gee, what do you think, Zach?" And Zach's like a mannequin wearing his clothes. And they're like, "Good thinking, Zach. We agree."
That's great. Okay, good stuff.
One of the executive producers is Ed Helms, and he appears in the show. Like as the actual...
Wait. Is he in The Office?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's the Onceler. He has other credits. The Onceler. From the Lorax. The Onceler.
Okay, I've read the Lorax. I've seen the movie once, but it hasn't stuck with me. So.
Don't Google it. Google it only if you're like really willing to go down a deep rabbit hole.
I gotcha. Okay.
But it's Ed Helms, and he's like the producer of the three guys, and they're it's one of those shows where like they know they're making a show, sort of, and they're doing a scene with him, and it's some other gag, it's some other game to the scene, and then like they address him by name. They're like, "Well, Ed," and he's like, "Hold on, guys, what?" And they're like, "What do you mean, Ed?" And he's like, "Guys, you've known me for years. My name is Egg. My name is Egg Helms." They're like, "No, it's not. It's Ed Helms. It's always been Ed Helms." He's like, "No." And he pulls up his phone. He's like, "Look, there's my IMDb profile. It says my full name right there. Egg Helms."
Egg Helms. Speaking of eggs, I that reminds me of the movie that we watched this week on the review show, Jingle Jangle.
Yeah.
There is a scene which I will be commenting on the egg in that, so be looking forward to that. Go. That's wild though. Good stuff. Okay, so that was a remind me of the title of that one again.
Auntie Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun.
Auntie Donna's, okay, sketch comedy. Auntie Donna's
Netflix
Big Ol'
show.
House of Fun Netflix show.
Look it up. It's just short and silly and a good light time to brighten up your day. I think that's all I have.
Good stuff. Okay, so that means it's my turn for TV shows. I will finish things up here on the podcast with these. Again, these are kind of in chronological order. Number 1, Venture Bros. I love this show. Melissa,
I'm so happy.
Thank you so much for making me watch this show. It is great. I love it. I'm so sad that it got canceled for season 8. I really hope that season 8 ends up being made, because they could wrap things up in season, Netflix, please. Make this happen. HBO Max, please. This is perfect.
They're in your family, HBO Max. Adopt them.
Make it happen, because
the end of these storylines is right there on the horizon. They're
Seriously.
7 seasons deep. They need just that 8th season. If they get more, wonderful. These stories have a little bit more time to breathe. But eight?
Yeah, right. It's not that far off. I was about to say, side note, I just got access to HBO Max for the first time. I don't think Venture Bros is on there.
It's on Hulu.
Right, it's on there. So I'm wondering if they have a contract or something with Hulu that they have exclusivity on that. But I'm wondering if once that is up, they might do hey, let's renew it for season 8 and be like, hey, we now have the entirety of just a big put, boom, here is this thing. I'm wondering if that's something that they've talked about or discussed.
So.
I hope so, because that show is phenomenal. Great show. Great show. So we watched all 7 seasons of that so far on the review show. We have multiple podcasts covering that.
Yep, 3 episodes.
Yeah, 3 whole episodes indeed. After that, again, something that we covered on the review show, Mr. Robot. Fuck, that show is so good. And it's right up my alley. I knew I liked this show because I had seen season 1, I think 2 times before we watched it for the review show. And just for whatever reason, never kept up with it. I think the first time I watched it, season 1 was all that there was so far. So that's all I watched. And then I just didn't keep up. And then I think I watched it a second time on my own because I knew I liked it and I wanted to catch up, but then I just never did. I don't remember. But then, we watched it for the review show. One of my all-time favorites now.
Yes.
I think Venture Bros made it up there as well, but Mr. Robot, That is a Kyle ass Kyle show.
It is very Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a show I still think about all the time. And I know
Same.
we
Yeah.
just finished it in like July, like it's not that old, but I know there's stuff in that show that is going to stick with me for a very
Right.
long time to come.
Absolutely. So besides that, the next show is seasons 1 through 3 of Dark, which is the entirety of that show. That is a German show. It's a Netflix original. It's a time travel show. Wild. The plot is crazy. There's a bunch of it's the same level of like theorizing you can do with Lost. Remember the feeling watching that show and just coming up with the theories of like, oh, like this is gonna happen and this guy's related to this and this thing and they did that and oh my god, it's great. Like Dark has that same level of intrigue in it, but it's also a time travel show, and you guys know me, I like time travel stuff. Like I said before when I was mentioning Parasite, it's a foreign show. Don't let the subtitles scare you off, because it is phenomenal. It's only 3 seasons. They do what they need to do and get out.
Is it concluded now?
Yeah, it is concluded. It is the whole thing is 3 seasons, a total of 26 episodes. And yeah, I think by the end, I remember tearing up and just being like, "It's so good! I love this show. This is beautiful." Yeah, it's a great show. Next up, the show I want to shout out is True Detective, specifically seasons 1 and 3, especially season 3. So seasons 1 and 3 are the ones you should absolutely watch of that show. You can completely skip season 2 if you want to, because it's an anthology show where each season is a new crime, and it's all new characters, stuff like that. Seasons 1 and 2 have a very, very, very loose connection. So it helps of like, oh, like, hey, I see what they're doing there with that thing, but you don't need to watch season 1 or 2 to understand what's happening in season 3 or stuff, or you know, so on and so forth. But season 1 is phenomenal. It stars Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, and they are both brilliant to just watch chew up the scenery, especially Matthew McConaughey. It just wonderfully acted. It's a great crime show if you're into all of that stuff, and a good mystery. But then season 3, what's interesting about that is the series is set in 3 different time periods of the same person's life. And yeah, so the main detective is played by Mahershala Ali, who will be the new Blade in the MCU, who also played Cottonmouth in the Luke Cage show, the Marvel Luke Cage show. And yeah, he's the main detective, and he catches this case that kind of sticks with him through multiple decades of his life. And so the show will switch back and forth between these decades, to where he's younger, he's middle-aged, and to when he's older on in life. And especially when he's older on in life, he's kind of starting to get Alzheimer's. And so he's not remembering things like he should. And so this whole thing is kind of tainted with this of like, am I really watching him when he's younger, or is this his memory of when he's younger? Did he said that this happened, but did that really happen? And so yeah, it's fascinating. And by the end of that season, I cried, and it was great. It was a good show. Highly recommend True Detective seasons 1 and 3. 2 I did not like, but It was so it was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. But yeah, especially season 3. Last but not least, because we have been going for a long time here, what I'm sure you guys will hear me talk about tomorrow on our retrospective, The Great Pretender, season 1.
Yeah.
I was so surprised by this show. It's phenomenal. It's great.
It's so much fun. What a romp.
It is. It is a romp, indeed. It is a crime show, more of a con of like, how
Yeah.
do we figure out how to swindle this dude and scam this dude? There's 3 cases within season 1, but just visually, it is gorgeous. They have this like really painterly art style to the backgrounds and stuff
Mhm.
that's almost psychedelic in the way
Yeah.
that just their use of color, and like it's not neon, but it's just there's so much
Super
color.
saturated.
Super
and, like-
saturated. Yeah. It's great. Great. And it's fun. It reminded me a lot of Cowboy Bebop and Lupin the
Mhm.
Third and Ocean's 11. So if you like that kind of stuff, check this out. It's phenomenal. So that's my last TV show of 2020 that I
Nice.
liked, that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good. I enjoyed a lot of things this year. I didn't get to as much TV as I would like to. I feel like I watch an okay amount of TV in my private life, but then when I talk to any other human being and they've watched way more shows than me, and I'm like, I watched a guy go through old VHS tapes on YouTube for a while. Like, I feel like I'm not bringing the same cultural conversation points to the table. So maybe in 2021 I'll watch more TV, real
in
TV.
your own way you are, though. Like, don't be ashamed, because I think YouTube is definitely a part of the conversation nowadays in a way that like 10, 20, I guess 20 years ago it wasn't around, but 10 years ago, I don't know when exactly YouTube started, but in its early days, like I don't think anyone would have thought that YouTube is in the same conversation as that now. Just like, you can watch.
Well, it isn't, except for me.
I mean, it kind of is, though, because I watch stuff on YouTube, but I don't watch like random fail compilations or stuff like there is that stuff if you want to watch that on there, and that's absolutely great for if that's what you want to use it for. But I also watch video podcasts. Like, it is more like a talk show, like a like, which could be a TV show, right? Like I watch it more for that stuff. And so yeah, like it is absolutely in that conversation of like, what is the content that you consume? What is the media that you consume? And it's like, well, I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, I watched this guy run a bunch of Hot Wheels into each other and then commentate over it like a sport.
Absolutely. 2020 is wild. It's great. So there you go. Melissa, final thoughts on 2020.
Oh, Jiminy's.
That's a loaded question.
I know. I tried to make my time here alone in my apartment count. I think I did a good job. I tried to elevate just my regular homely skills, like cooking and cleaning and things like that. And I think I am much better at that than I was at the beginning of the year.
Good for you.
And I hope that's something that sticks with me, even when I am back to like being out of my house much more and I've got a busier life. I think I hope that I'll retain that diligence to put the dishes away, dust that. You're going to make yourself, 10 days worth of food and then pack it into the freezer today.
Yeah.
I hope I'm still good at that. And I hope I still find time to make time for movies I've been meaning to see forever. Having all of this time on my, like, not needing to drive around to like commute to work, and I'm not going out to stores as often or seeing people. Like, I've got more time at home. So with these longer chunks of time, I'm like, I'm gonna sit down to a movie. Anytime I had like 2 hours, I'm like, what's a movie that you can watch? So I fit way more movies into my year than I typically do. And there's still ones that I'm really hoping to have the time to cross off the list before, year ends.
Yeah.
I want to watch Eyes Wide Shut. That's a long one.
There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, yeah, 2020 has been a crazy year. It is absolutely what no one expected. Um, yeah, I'm in a ways speechless at what it was.
Yeah.
But I also felt right at home because I'm a shut-in anyways. Like, I stay at home. I don't talk to anyone, really. I have no friends. It's great. But that's not to be all woe is me. Like, I had fun, and I was expecting this to have a bigger impact on what we do here at the Whatnauts, and I think we've done phenomenally.
Yeah, like what we do has basically not changed at all. We have to dig a little deeper to come up with captain's log topics, and I counted, and we only did 5 reactor core video podcasts this year instead of like 11 last year. But otherwise, normal, same.
Pretty much, yeah. So I'm excited for what is to come in 2021. But you guys, I guess, will hear a little bit more about what we are hoping to do in 2021 on our 5-year anniversary retrospective. So let's dive into housekeeping right now. Our 5-year anniversary retrospective, we will be recording it tomorrow. So if you're listening to this as a podcast or on YouTube, please be on the lookout for that. It might already be out at the same time. Who knows exactly, or will be out shortly. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. We have some awards to kind of pass out. There's going to be some trivia and stuff like that. There's going to be drinking. There's going to be eating pizza. There's going to be all sorts of fun and shenanigans and reasons to celebrate a 5-year anniversary here at the Whatnauts. So that is fun. Be on the lookout for all of that. If you did not know, though, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. If you especially like what we do, we have all sorts of exclusive content at our $3 tier. More of that will be coming in the new year, so be on the lookout for all of that stuff. Big shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you so much to Sam, who has been supporting us for
Sam.
an incredible amount of time. Thank you so much. We love you and appreciate you a lot.
Love you.
Indeed. That being said, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And you can listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, where me and my brother James watch a weird old kids show or movie from fuzzy yesteryear. And we'll be releasing a Christmas episode about a movie called The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus from the year 2000.
Interesting. Good stuff. Good stuff. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. You guys want to stay up to date on our podcasts, we are at The Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. Follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Whatnauts. Go follow us on Twitch, which unfortunately we had to take down our Twitch stream. I promise we will have things working for tomorrow for the end of the year retrospective. I just have to switch some things around so I don't have to deal with this new software that I am using right now. So we'll have that all figured out. Go follow us on Twitch, which is the twitch.tv/thewhatnauts. Go like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a foe, sell your soul, do whatever you need to do to help us spread the word. We hope you had a good 2020. If you did not, we hope that 2021 is much better for you. It has been crazy for us all, but it's almost done. So at least there is hope in that. With that, we will see you in the new year.
Mhm.
Happy holidays, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.